friends. Welcome to the Wild Rose podcast. It's Whitney Rose.
And Connie Daniels.
And we are in the holiday spirit.
Woo.
Jingle, jingle.
If you're not watching us right now, you need to get on YouTube and see our cute little reindeer antlers.
We are wearing our ugly sweaters and our reindeer antlers in the holiday spirit. But, all right, let's get to what is the wildest thing that happened to you this week?
Me? Actually, I'm going to start with you. Let's start with you.
Mine has to do with this podcast. So the wildest thing that's happened to me this week is one of my favorite energy healers and intuitives is coming on our podcast today.
Oh,
yes.
That is wild, actually.
I've been into energy work and spirituality my entire life. I would say that I've always been spiritual. And in fact, it's something I can remember all the way back to when I was a little girl. And my mom introduced me to energy work when I was in high school. And it's just something that it's something I've always been into. The modality back then was you held a rod. It was energy through water. And it was emotional work, emotional and energy clearing is what my mom got me into. So it's just something that I've always been into. It's been a huge resource for me in my life. And recently I've been introduced to Andriana, and she is an intuitive. She's a spiritual counselor, and she does Reiki. And she also does tarot card readings. She is an amazing, amazing person to work with. She's helped me so much in the last couple of months. So that's the wildest thing. And she's coming on the podcast today.
I'm so excited. I've had a session with her too, so I'm really excited to see her.
Yeah.
And to share her energy with everybody. That's super cool.
Well, it came about because I was just at a Wild Rose beauty event, and someone asked me I said, hey, they're telling me their story. And I said, oh, you need to talk to this person, one of my healers. And he goes, oh, I thought that was all just for the show. And I was like, what? No, this is like my weekly, daily practice. Spirituality is my jam. Like, this is how I'm get through life.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be fun to bring on Andriana.
Oh, I'm excited.
I say her name different every time.
Andriana.
What is your wildest thing?
My wildest thing is actually a spiritual thing too that happened this week. I tried a thing called Hape for the first time. And it's, for those who don't know what it is, it's like an ancient, I will probably mess this up. So
Isn't it tobacco? It
is a tobacco, and tobacco gets kind of a lot of bad rap because it's linked to cancer and different things. But it's very controversial, like everything right now. But it is a sacred Amazonian snuff. So you actually blow it up your nose, and you set an intention with it, and you bless it, and then it has this little thing like that. I thought I brought it. Anyway, it has this little thing that you blow. Part of it goes in your mouth, part of it goes in your nose, and you blow it, and it goes up, and then you scoop it towards you. And it's like an ancient, like, Indian
you blow
thing.
it into your nose. I mean, I've heard of it. I just have never done it.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous to try it, but when I learned more about it, it took kind of the nervousness away, because a lot of people use it to help with anxiety. A lot of people use it to start their meditation because it's very grounding. And it was,
Well, I've seen it when shamans blow it into people's noses.
So shamans, they have it's fascinating how they make it and everything. Shamans will make it, and it's this whole spiritual thing. And so shamans will administer it sometimes too, but there is a way that you can administer it yourself. And it was very, it kind of moves energy through you, and you can feel it. It goes up your nose and kind of comes up and around the back of you, and it just gives you this very calm, centered feeling.
You didn't feel like you're drowning?
I did for just a second. It kind of feels like that feeling, like, and I was warned, like when you jump in the water and you kind of get water right up your nose, because it kind of burns and it makes your eyes water. But that goes away. And then you just kind of breathe through it, and then all of a sudden you're just super calm. And I mean, you're very, very clear. You can, have conversation if you need to or wanted to, but it was really cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Happy.
Yeah. Happy.
Well,
So kind of wild.
very wild. We're feeling all the spiritual vibes this week.
Yes, we are.
All right. After the break, we are going to have on our guest, Andriana. She is an intuitive and a spiritual counselor and a Reiki healer, and she's beautiful.
And our new friend.
And she will be on after the break. Hi, Wild Ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. We have a very, very special guest with us today, Andriana. I don't even know your last name.
Comis.
Mm-hmm. Andriana Comis is with us today. She is near and dear to both Connie and I. Andriana is our Reiki healer and spiritual guide. I don't even know what your official title is. I just know that you have changed and blessed my life tremendously. Connie and I are both into energy healing, and now I'm into Reiki. That's my newest thing, thanks to Andriana. I met her through mutual friends, Connie and I's mutual friend, and I heard about her like multiple times before I actually met you, and finally I was like, I'm going to call her.
That's so funny.
That's how it happened for me too. I heard about you over and over and over. And finally I'm like, okay, I have to set this appointment so it happens, because I knew immediately I wanted to meet with you.
Oh, I love it.
For sure.
Yay.
We were actually in Napa on my birthday, and Quincy was like, you got to call her.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I'm feeling like I need to tell you to call her, Whitney. I was like, okay, I'm going to
Quincy's
do
a
it.
sweetie.
And you ended
Yeah.
up getting in before I did, because I had to change an appointment. So it was like, I got to hear her experience, which just validated everyone else. So it was really
yes.
cool.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Oh,
So,
I'm so glad.
Andriana, do you want to introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
Yeah.
And we have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm Andriana. I live in Sandy, Utah. I have a little boy and another little one on the way. I've been doing intuitive spiritual counseling, I guess, for several years as well with Reiki. And that's pretty much it. You can dive more into the questions.
So everyone always asks me, what is Reiki? Like how do you define Reiki? What is it? And what does it do?
Reiki is a form of energy healing that helps heal on all levels. So it heals on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. What it does is it replaces anything negative within the body on those levels and replaces it with what the body actually needs. So the idea is taking out what's negative, putting in what's positive, right? Just on whatever it is that your body needs to heal on. And it's been around for thousands of years. I feel like a lot of people are familiar with it. A lot of people aren't, though, too. But it's pretty powerful. It's really cool.
So taking a step back, I kind of just jumped into the Reiki thing, but it is interesting because I never know how to explain it. Like, she just works on my chakras and aligns my body, and I feel energy move.
Yeah.
But how did you get into Reiki? And most importantly, like, how did you know that you were an intuitive? And how did you find your path?
So ever since I was little, I've always been able to just tune into the other side, I guess. As a small child, even from memories that I didn't have as a small child, my family would tell me, of me saying weird things, doing weird things, seeing people that they couldn't see. And it started off like that, me being able to see people that had passed on that others couldn't see.
When this happened, did you know that it was people, like a spirit, or like, how do you see? Do you see visually, or do you hear? Like, because I know there's different ways.
There's different ways. And so it started off with me very much seeing visually. That was the first sense that kind of kicked on. And I remember as a small child seeing them and thought they were, oh, look, more friends. Like I would play with them like they were my friends.
Did they
as a
look
very
like
small,
humans?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
It was, And my family would hear me talking to them. And then my next memory that came in was when I was about 10 years old, when I had like a scarier experience. You know, it was all fun for a long time as a young child, but then it got kind of scary, you know, seeing like darker entities and energies that just kind of were.
Could you feel it too?
Yeah,
feel the
could
difference?
absolutely feel it. Could see it, feel it, hear it. Or I was like, oh, this is shifting into something else. And it scared me to where I tried turning it off in a sense. And I would always tell my family, oh, this isn't a gift. This is a curse. This is so scary. They would keep me up at night, especially nighttime. It was pretty, active. And so for years, I tried tuning it out and realized this isn't going away. So I better figure out how to tune in a way that I'm comfortable. So I found a spiritual counselor, did some classes around it. She was a mentor, I guess.
Did your family help you with this? Like, because
they didn't really know what to do. It's interesting. So my great grandma, she was actually very intuitive, and she would actually talk to me about her experiences. So she kind of guided me for a while, but then she passed away when I was 12.
Okay.
And then my mom and my dad, they were supportive, but they just didn't really know what to do. They believed me. They were empathetic about it, but they didn't know what to do. So it wasn't until like my early 20s when I decided, okay, I need to do something about this. And I found this spiritual mentor, and she really guided me into teaching me how to turn it on and off and not be scared of it. It's not a scary thing. And then I got into Reiki through a mutual coworker. I'm also an occupational therapist. So I was working at a local hospital here, and this other occupational therapist said, you should consider doing Reiki. Have you heard of it? I had never heard of it. She told me it was like a hands-on healing that she used a lot with a lot of the patients that we would see that would help, promote and facilitate just faster healing from surgeries and whatnot. So that's when I went and got certified, and that kind of ramped things up and amplified my intuitive gifts even more. So then I kind of just incorporated both of them and have been working on people ever since.
So cool. Yeah. Like, I always wonder, because it is such like, I do believe we all have those gifts in us, whether we recognize it or don't.
Yep.
Some are a little more apparent, especially as a young child, like you tuned in, and luckily you had a guide to help you through that and understand what was happening. Because I think probably a lot of people have these things happen and they don't.
Everybody does. That's the thing. Everybody does have these gifts, and everybody is capable of tapping in and tuning into these gifts. But it is like a muscle you have to work, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. A lot of kids, I mean, maybe you guys even have memories as children of having experiences, right? But I feel like it gets shut down so much, it's just not acknowledged a lot as a kid, or you get scared and then it just kind of shuts it off. But everyone is very capable of doing this type of work, and anyone can do Reiki. You don't have to have even any extra special gifts to do Reiki. Anyone can go do a class and do Reiki, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to like recognizing the signs, like how you know that you're connecting to the other side or you're connecting to an energy.
Yeah.
I was reading something, and it was like signs that you're an intuitive. It's like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you know the difference between like this is really happening and it's not?
And I can only go based off of my own experiences, but I mean, I feel like, because you can be clairvoyant where you have the gift of sight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see things just pop up in front of your, physical view, right? You could be dreaming very vividly. You could be just seeing things in your mind's eye even. And that's how mine started. So I would get things that would pop up physically as well. Seeing a lot of things that way, but a lot of it's through dreams, through my mind's eye. It's like looking at a different movie screen almost, like a different if that makes sense.
Yes, you're watching something.
Yeah, like I'm watching something.
Because what I was reading, it said how to know that you're an intuitive or you're a healer is if you're empathic.
Yes, empathic is a big one.
Empathic,
you can feel other
sensitive.
people's stuff.
Yeah.
You can walk into a store and kind of just automatically connect with whoever's there or feel the tension from some situation or person. You're just picking up on a lot of different things that way. But yeah, highly empathic. That's definitely a sign that you're intuitive. If you're having these vivid dreams, if you kind of have this knowingness of things before they happen, or just that gut feeling, really strong gut feeling on things, that if you're awake and breathing and, eating and you're intuitive, you know what I mean? Everyone is, but just being aware of those things can make it more apparent.
When something you've taught me is just the practice of being present.
Yeah. Yeah. Being present is so important. I feel like if people want to open their gifts more, the practice of being present and also meditation. And I know that's so cliche and everyone talks about meditation, but it really is something to help just open you up, help you be present, help you be centered. As you're centered and aligned within yourself, just the capacity and the capabilities of tapping into that just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Like I have so many questions.
I know.
Yeah,
so many questions.
That's good.
So it's interesting because like how I first, I grew up Mormon, religious, and what was kind of surprising to me at first was to realize that like I could be very spiritual, in some ways even more spiritual for me personally without religion. They can very much and do go hand in hand. But anyway, when my younger brother, I shared this with you when I met with you, but when my younger brother passed away at only 22, this is where it started me down a different spiritual path because I had this, it was just different than like having a grandparent pass away. It was like somebody who passed before what I felt like for sure was his time. And so I had like this direct line communication in a way with the other side because I felt him with me so much. So I reached out to somebody who was a medium who was kind of like my brother's friend found this woman. And she opened, I don't know, I guess maybe she validated a lot of things and she kind of taught me a lot of things, about, and then I kind of wondered, I started getting a lot of signs from him. Yeah. And so then I started wondering like, oh my gosh, like now that I can see or feel these things, I kept wondering how much of this have I missed in my life? Because I think I was like 32, 33 when this happened. And I thought I could feel and see so much that was kind of beyond, physical.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it just kind of made me go, wow, like I wonder how much I'm so distracted in this world by all these things that I don't see and I still every day, I'm sure I miss lots of things because this life is very distracting from, a different realm of it.
And that's why I talk so much about like being present and that meditation piece, because it can be so subtle. These signs can be really profound and in your face, but be so subtle as well. And it's easy to miss them with just the daily distractions of life. And so, so that's really cool that you had that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I have loved Reiki because it's helped me release a lot from my body, my physical body.
Yes.
That's what I noticed too. Yeah. And I've had Reiki done before from someone else, a couple other people, but with yours in particular, it was interesting because, and I shared this with Whitney and she felt the same thing, but as you kind of go through the chakras, like down your body, starting from your head down to your feet, when you were pulling from my feet, I think you even told me you might feel this. And I had boots on and I could still feel something pulling out. And I think you explained it like this is the energy that's kind of maybe stuck or you don't need that's in your body that's kind of, I'm just going to help pull it out. And I think it's such a gift or definitely a gift to kind of help people with that. Because I have felt different at different times, different things feeling stuck, but I don't know how to move it out of my body. So I'm grateful for people like you that can assist in that. you know?
It's a lot of fun. It really is. It really gives me so much joy to do it. I love it so much, just seeing people shift. And again, like we're all capable of even doing it ourselves, even working with your own energy. And it doesn't have to be Reiki specifically. We can heal ourselves. You know, we're all capable of that.
On that note, can I ask a question? I don't know if I'm asking too much.
No,
ask but
whatever you want.
During my first session, so when you were doing the clearing and you were pulling from my feet, you mentioned a lot that our spirit guides come to us. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about spirit guides?
Yes.
Because that was one of the coolest experiences for me, just on my journey of overcoming childhood trauma that has bled into my adulthood, and trying to work through PTSD.
Yeah.
My spirit guides kept coming through so strong. I don't know if you remember that one day, but it was like so strong. I just started crying, and I was like, I felt like someone was giving me a big hug. Mm-hmm. And it was validation as you were moving the energy that the choices I'm making around my healing, meaning certain people are no longer allowed in my life, or I have boundaries. My spirit guides were validating that and telling me that I'm in the right place, doing the right thing. So can you talk to us about that? Because that is something that's unique to you, I think, is that you do offer a reading because you are a clairvoyant.
Yeah, maybe that's just how mine differ. And every Reiki practitioner is different, but that's what I do. Is I really like to access everyone's spirit guides as I'm doing the healing, because that's going to help just give you guidance as well. With our spirit guides, again, this is my experience, what I've had with spirit guides just growing up. We all have one main one that stays with us our whole lives. And then you have other ones that kind of tack on and off as needed, just depending on how much support you may be needing at that point in your life. So there could be a point in your life where you have 4 spirit guides, or 10 or 20, or, it just kind of all depends at that time. Spirit guides, typically it's not necessarily anyone that you know. You have a whole spiritual team, though. So you have like your ancestors, your loved ones that can kind of act as guides. Your spirit guides, though, are the ones that really know you the best and guide your path.
So how do they know us the best? What does that mean?
It's, I wish I knew, actually. I don't know. That's their job. They're kind of like these angel guides that just know the ins and outs of you, know your path, know what's going to be most in alignment for you, and try to really help that. We'll try to help intervene when needed. Our loved ones, when they pass, there's still some ego involved when our loved ones pass. They think they know what's best for you, but a lot of the times they don't. They love you. It comes from a good place, but spirit guides are operating kind of at higher levels, higher realms to really help guide. And accessing like divine source to really, really help.
So I'll never forget that day. Like I felt it so clearly when I asked you if I've connected to them before, because I thought I had.
And they want you to know that. And they want you to feel that. And they'll give you your signs in your way that you need to feel and know that.
And when you go back to like Connie's point of growing up religious, I was raised Mormon, and I was a very spiritual kid as well. Like I've always been connected.
Yeah.
But I was very devout religious too. So I'd read my scriptures, pray, fast, all of that. And I have never, in the sense of like religion, feeling the spirit, or like when the spirit whispers to you or whatever, I've never felt it stronger in my life than this last year, but specifically during that session.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
And I have another question about spirit guides. I know Connie has tons of questions too. And we'll split your time equally. Sorry, Cons.
No, you're good.
With the spirit guide thing, after, I think I asked Connie this. I said, do you think we could be spirit guides in this life? Like, am I a spirit guide right now?
That's a really good question.
Because if time is...
Oh my gosh, we could go down a rabbit hole with this, right?
Yeah.
With us being in such like the 3D, if you will, world right now. I mean, we're all having a human experience right now. I feel like we're all guides in a sense, though, for someone, whether it's considered spirit guide or not. You can be a guide for someone in a certain situation, absolutely. As far as like true spirit guide form, probably not, because they're living it in different dimensions, different realms, those higher realms. But yeah, that's actually a really, really good question. And like I said, we could go down a rabbit hole.
I know. I just started thinking about it. I'm like, wait, do spirit guides, are they done coming to Earth?
So a lot of the times they've lived at least one life, and you can get into that too. Yeah. You can get into the whole past life thing too, but they've lived at least one life before. So they, very well could choose to, okay, this lifetime I'm going to be a spirit guide for someone or for people, and then maybe their next lifetime they do come back down. Who knows? But more often than not, again, from what they have taught me, they've had at least one human life before. So, yeah.
It's so fascinating to me, all of it. And it's, this last session with you that I only had one so far. It made me, it validated a lot of things for me. Like that kind of a lot of things I think whenever when somebody goes and sees like anybody who deals with any type of energy or healing, they're using their own tuition to share with you. So through you comes message to me, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, because, growing up like religious, and this is like another kind of question Whitney and I were talking about. Do you, I might be a little bit scattered here, but do you, like with religion, in particular, our religion, my mom was a little skeptic because you're kind of told in the religion that, you have to be careful of people like these energy people, or I don't even know what they would call
deceivers.
them. Deceiver. Yeah, that it can be deceiving. But I always thought, when my mom, the first medium that I went to, my mom was like, yeah, these are really cool, like, amazing things she shared, but I don't know. And I could see her holding back, but I said to her, Mom, but if it resonates with me deeply, it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's how you know the difference.
Exactly.
Of, like whoever you're talking to, because now in our culture, and this is, my daughter says, this is almost like a popular thing. Like it's like a cool thing to be into, like energy or like, I don't know, all this stuff. And so she has kind of an interesting view on it, but I'm like, it's okay that it's, even if people are using it as like a popular thing, at least it's spreading awareness around this. Exactly. And, people will all take it for whatever they want, but
I think that the younger generations are just more open.
Yeah.
They're more open to other options, other modalities, especially spirituality.
Yeah.
And kind of back to that like religion thing, for me, it's like if it resonates with you, you have to have faith in that.
Exactly.
It's a belief.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Like
exactly.
you're believing that you're connecting to your source.
Exactly. Right. It all kind of leads to the same place, whether you're just religious, just spiritual, both, you're accessing, we're all trying to get to that same point of accessing something higher, right? That guides us. So whether
God, universe,
anything,
Heavenly
right?
Mother, whatever it is,
no judgment, right? But for me, I grew up with my mother being LDS, my father Greek Orthodox, but religion for me personally never resonated. I couldn't connect with it, but I was always very spiritual. Mm-hmm. But based off of what I was getting and what religion taught me, it was kind of different. There's great things that I did take away from, religion, but at the same time, spirituality was a little bit different. My own experience was different.
So how do you counsel someone who maybe is religious, or we're in Utah, so LDS, but is really wanting some healing or wants to have the experience or try it?
Yeah.
How do you coach them to like say like, it's okay, this is safe, it's not against your religion?
Exactly. I always, and I feel like all the clients I do get are very much open to it, but at the same time I do get clients that are a little bit hesitant too, because, of the predominant religion here. I feel like that can go with any religion, but But I just give them that kind of that pep talk around, this is a very safe thing. It does, spirituality is spirituality. It doesn't matter what religion you associate yourself with. It's not a bad thing. You should be going out and discovering what feels right for you. There's nothing wrong with that. And I encourage people to do it. Use your discernment, though. You should absolutely be cautious of who you go to, because you want to make sure that whatever type of energy worker you're going to is accessing, the right source, divine source. There's some people that just do it, tapping into who knows what, you know what I mean? And so again, you have to use your own intuition and discernment to know, like, okay, no, this does feel good. I do feel safe. And I like to teach people what intuition actually feels like, what it feels like for something to actually feel like a yes or feel like a no. It's a lot simpler than we make it. So I try to teach people that so that they do feel safe.
I feel like for me, it kind of just broadened my perspective or my perception of my own spirituality. Like there was like more of it, in a sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I felt like I almost had like a little bit of like blinders on as growing up, like with religion, like, oh, don't look anywhere else but right here. And like, there's a lot of, there's good information here, but also there's more than this.
There's way more.
And so, at first it was a little uncomfortable to look outside of the box,
Totally.
but also I was at a point too where I was not quite in that box anymore.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I just try to encourage everyone. And I'm not here to preach by any means, but it is, and everyone's journey is different. Go down that journey though, open your awareness, open your eyes. And I do feel like the generation, like you were saying, this younger generation is more aware. We are having more of this like awakening on this planet, which is needed to
Very
make
much.
Changes.
Well, and they say that after a certain year that everyone here, for the most part, came to heal the earth.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that as we heal ourselves, like one of my favorite concepts is as we heal ourselves, we heal the world.
Absolutely. It's a ripple effect. I mean, it all starts with you, as we make our own vibration within our body, higher, living at a higher frequency, that is a ripple effect, with anyone else that you're around. Think about when you go into the room of like a lot of people that just don't feel, they're low vibration. They have all these low emotions. They're sad, angry.
like family at Christmas.
Yeah, right? No, really.
Not all family.
Some
Really.
family.
Some.
We all have those family members.
Right? You can feel that.
You can feel it walking in.
You
It's
can
true.
feel it, and it can either bring you down as well, or you can be operating at that higher frequency where you actually, you shine your light on someone and it causes some sort of healing for them. Like, oh, that, I want to be around that person more because they feel good. They feel good to be around. I like how that feels. So yeah, it is very true. As you work on yourself and raise your vibration, you're healing those around you as well.
Well, and something that, because I've always been spirituality to me is a practice. It's not just something like you have to actively, it's a muscle, like you said, right?
Yeah.
You have to engage that muscle. And that's why I think Connie and I are such good friends too, is because we can talk about spirituality. We're open to it. We love to feel it. We love to connect on it. We love to talk about it. And something over this last year that I really realized is even the simplest practice of just giving gratitude.
That's it. Absolutely.
And like I've been really big into manifesting. That's
Totally.
what I always text him like, wait, remind me of that moon practice.
It's
What is your like favorite? I don't know. There's so much we could talk about, but I do want you to do a reading at some point.
Yeah.
But Connie and I were talking about like, we wondered, I mean, do we go down manifestation route or do we ask her what her most profound, if you're comfortable sharing, like what has been one of your most profound moments as you're working with someone or with yourself or like, because you get to help so many people.
Yeah, I do. I feel so grateful that I am able to help so many people. There's been so many
I know it's probably
great
hard
experiences. You know what's funny? The one that like really sticks out the most, and this seems so silly, but it was an experience I had with my dog, actually. And I love doing Reiki on animals too. They're so receptive to it. But with my dog specifically, it was this experience. My guides taught me a lot with like practicing on my dog, actually. My dog, she was 14 at the time, and she had this seizure. We took her into the vet, and they said, oh, she has cancer in her abdomen. She has a month to live, yada, yada, yada. So I started, and this was after I was doing Reiki. I did Reiki on her every single day. I was actually able to communicate with her as well. And I was begging her, I'm like, please don't go. I can't have you go yet. It was right before I gave birth to my son. And like 3 months had passed. She was still doing great. And I took her back into a different vet, and they did the same testing that first vet did, and they couldn't find any cancer within her body. But it was,
my gosh, I just got chills.
Yeah, they couldn't find any cancer at all. And it was interesting though, because I remember communicating with my dog during this time, and she just kept saying, I'll stay till I'm 17. And so 3 years later, when she was 17, same thing happened. Took her into the vet because she wasn't doing well, and it was the same exact cancer that was there 3 years ago, the 3 years before. But you know, so I feel like that was pretty profound.
That is very
profound.
I mean, of course, with humans as well, there's been pretty cool, profound
animals
experience.
are better than
But
humans.
I just love animals so much, right?
That is so sweet.
Yeah. So I loved that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is sweet. Okay, so we were actually wondering too, how, since you are intuitive, how or do you connect with this baby you're about to have in a few months?
Yeah.
How is that experience? Do you want to share that with us?
Absolutely. It's been wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, because you have a little boy, right? That's 7.
Yeah.
So, are you having similar experiences now being pregnant as you did with him? Is it very different?
It's different.
Okay.
It's so different. Just because I feel like, I don't know, you're at a different place at that time. It was 7 years ago that I had my son. So it was similar. I was definitely still connecting, but this has been different for sure. Before I found out I was pregnant, I was having a lot of dreams. The night before I found out I was pregnant, I had a dream I was in Tulum, and I went into this room, and this lady said to me, your baby's on their way. They're going to be there soon. And I woke up, went right into the bathroom, took a pregnancy test, and I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
I was having other dreams though too, of like this brown owl flying over me. A lot of the times brown owls can represent fertility. And so this brown owl that whole week leading up to finding out I was pregnant was flying over my head and then landed on me, and then had the dream of the lady telling me that. So different things like that has happened. Now, once I found out I was pregnant, it was actually hard for me to like fully connect with it. It just didn't feel real. As time has gone on through the pregnancy, I definitely feel really strong connection to him. It's interesting because I feel like when I communicate with him, like I'll even ask him, like, will you do a kick for me right now? And then I'll get a kick right away, you know? So it's really cool that way. Yeah. Just having different dreams about him. I feel like it's kind of amplified what I typically do. I feel like I'm more, I don't know, sensitive, definitely, like reading people. So I'll see how that changes after I have him, I guess. But
just having that other little spirit with you all the time right now, and how that will change after. Yeah.
I just think being pregnant in general can like amplify it,
everything.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
you know, that's so, it's kind of fascinating. As you're saying this, and we were talking about how everyone has these gifts, whether you know it or not. And it actually reminded me when I was pregnant with my son 21 years ago, over 21 years ago. I had dreams of him before I knew it was a boy.
Yeah.
I had a dream of him, and it was kind of a wild dream. I was at my mom's house, and there was a war going on, and we were kind of going through like homes, and it was kind of crazy. But then all of a sudden I had to stop, and I'm like, no, I'm having the baby right now in the middle of a war.
Wow.
And I had the baby, and it was very vivid, and I had this baby, and he came out, and it was a boy. And I just remember waking up going, that was wild. And I think I knew I was pregnant at the time, But I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, am I having a boy?
That's awesome.
And and kind of interesting that I had at a time during war in my dream, because if you think of, all of the crazy things going on in this world right now, he's, oh gosh, now it's going to make me emotional, but like being born at a time that, there's a lot going on the earth today, a lot of chaos. And so,
absolutely. That's really profound.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, I always had, I call it activity at night.
Yeah. Yep.
And since a young girl, I'd always have bad experiences, but there was a little girl that always visited me when I was little, and I used to run to my mom's room. When I would see her, I'd sprint to my mom's room. But now I'm kind of like thinking, I wonder if it was Bobby, because my daughter, because it was so weird because I would always call her Bobby.
Oh my God.
Really?
Oh, I just got the chills.
Me too. I'd always call her Bobby.
Like immediately. Yeah.
And she would always have on a red sweater.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's so crazy because she has red hair.
And I always kind of knew I was going to have a girl, and I always knew her name was going to be Bobby.
Oh my gosh. I have the
And
craziest chills right now. That feels like
it was always scary to me as a little kid.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I wonder if she was watching over me.
Same thing with my first son. He came to me like years before I had him. And I didn't connect the dots until like well after I had him. Like, oh my gosh, that was him that was coming to me. But
they're always, it's that idea of like our ancestors, our relatives being our spirit guides too, right? With us, connected to us.
Exactly.
But you had explained to me, and I didn't realize this because I've always thought, oh, like our spirit guides are our ancestors. Yeah. And you had said like, actually not usually at all.
Yeah.
They are spirits we don't really know, which is,
and again, they can act as guides too. They're still like very much a support for you, know, but not necessarily your guides guiding you on your path. Sometimes they can come in with snippets of guidance, especially in dreams, if that's who you're like really close to and resonate with. But yeah.
Yeah, and mine, I'm learning, is my main one's very dominant, male, masculine, protective.
Isn't it fun? It's so fun to like allow yourself
and I can't wait till our next session so I can tell you what's been happening since I've been practicing the connection.
Good.
But yeah, so I want to go back to you. So you see, what are your other
So I
forms
see,
of-
I hear, and know and feel. So, and again, like everyone will have one main one that kind of comes about first, and then you can practice opening up the other ones as well. So my first one was always clairvoyancy, being able to see. And then I had to really practice with the other ones as well. And so, so you can be clairaudient, gift of hearing, claircognizance, which is gift of knowingness, clairsentience, which is just that feeling that you get, and clairvoyant, which is gift of sight. So
amazing.
So how did you get into tarot cards too?
You know what? It's like I honestly use the cards more so to help other people just get a visual of like what we already talked about. It's like validation of what we talk about within our session. It's like, okay, let's pull the cards now. And it just kind of gives some reassurance and validation.
That's what I was going to say. That's my favorite part of our session is the reading, because as someone who's trying to overcome something and navigate a new path forward, I just need that validation.
The validation is
that
big.
it's like I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and
exactly.
that I'm on the right path.
Exactly.
Because,
and being able to see it, like actually,
And for some people that might sound silly, but if you have some sort of major like abuse or trauma you're overcoming, like you have to rewire the way you think.
1,000%.
And because my entire life I knew I was right.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could trust myself, but I didn't. Because I was told I couldn't and shouldn't.
Yep.
So that is one of my favorite parts of the reading. It's like one, I just feel lighter and amazing after, but it's the cards to validate what's already in my heart and my mind.
And that's why I do it. That's why I like to do this with people with the practice that I do, just because, again, it gives that reassurance and validation for people. So,
is it possible? Can we do a reading for everyone?
Yeah. So
for everyone or for you and I?
I don't know. Connie and I talked about this. There's another podcast that someone came on and did a reading for like the listeners.
Oh, cool.
Just kind of like a group.
Collective.
Yeah, collective.
We could
reading.
definitely try that. I'm more, with my practice, it is more like one-on-one focus. I could do
With the energy who's here.
Yeah.
Like in physical.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we could try the other way too. So.
Well, and I noticed you brought Angel Wisdom Tarot.
Yes.
So,
and I really like using like the Angel Oracle cards. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite types to use. And this deck I've been using for a long time. I have like 20 different decks that I'll alternate through, but this one I use most frequently. So.
Did you feel like you should bring this one?
Yeah, I definitely like tapped into which one should I bring for today?
Because we did ask you to bring them if you would be willing to. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. How do you want to do this? We'll just let you lead.
Let's just see. I'm gonna just start shuffling and see kind of what comes through. Does that sound good?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And it always takes me a minute to like shift and get into, tuning in and whatnot. Whenever I tune in, when I'm connecting, for me personally, what that looks like is I'll get like this. I'll see, I don't really share this with a lot of people, but I'll see a triangle and an eye. And
is that where you're always looking when you're doing it? I've noticed you look off.
Yeah, I look off because that's like the other screen I look at, and they'll show me things with the way they communicate with me is I'll see symbols, numbers. So it's trying to interpret all these different symbols and signs and putting it into what would make sense for that person, if that makes sense. It's not necessarily like this back and forth conversation. Sometimes I do get, some sentences or phrases, but a lot of the times it's interpreting what you're hearing, seeing, feeling, and knowing all within one moment. So, and the cards just help because they can utilize those to just help more visually. So, but in my mind's eye, once I'm ready to fully dive in and connect, they show me a triangle. That's like my sign for you're connected. You can ask now, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And I suck at shuffling, so I will never get good at this.
You don't deal poker hands often.
So yeah, we can do kind of like they're saying, I'm getting the sign for connection now. So we can kind of do like a 3-card spread right now for just an overall general of what to know in general worldly right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just like the general collective?
General collective, yeah. Okay. Okay. So the first one here, this represents like day-to-day needs, material needs, worldly things in general. So the nice thing with these cards too is like they'll say something specific, but then I'm also tuning in separately with the guides to get more information on it, if that makes sense. So this says a time of great success, financial security and prosperity, the Midas touch, everything turning out beautifully, a supportive parent and spouse, a good person to work for. This message specifically is for everyone to know that as chaotic as everything feels right now, as chaotic and dark as the world can feel right now, we still have the ability to make it beautiful. And it's our time to make it beautiful. We all have that ability to have that Midas touch, like they're saying in the card or in the cards here. Hold on. They're trying to show something else. 1 second. This is okay. And they say this is a time for people to, yes, take risks, but also have some caution at the same time. A lot of people I think are afraid to take any sort of risk right now with how things are. And there's this reassurance around if there's something that you've been like yearning to do, even like a financial investment of some kind, it's okay to do it. Of course, use your discernment around that, but this is a time that you actually can take risk and be safe with it, okay? The next one that comes in, this one's all about passion, career. This can be issues with other people. This is saying conflicts with others caused by opposing opinions. I mean, this is just what's happening with the world in general. There's a lot of opposing opinions in general.
On literally everything.
On everything. So,
Which I guess that's just being human.
Like, absolutely.
We all have our different perspectives.
Absolutely. And it says walk away from drama unless the situation is really worth your time. Then stand up for yourself. Very ambitious people. So this is all about choosing your battle. You know, the world, you know, we're all going to have varying opinions that can cause major issues if you let it. So choose what you want to put your energy towards. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself either, though. You know, it's not a bad thing to speak up around whatever it is that you need to speak up on. And this is more of like giving that motivation around that too. You know, they're saying really, really stay in your power, stand your ground, but also choose your battles wisely. What's going to be worth your energy? What's going to be worth investing your emotional energy, your financial energy, your whatever that is.
Whitney gets to practice this a lot on Housewives.
I'm sure.
If you're up to date,
I was going to say,
you get to practice this one.
This is resonating.
Yeah.
I mean, we all get to practice that.
Right.
You get
Well,
to
even
practice
just
it.
being a mom, like you choose your battles. Right?
Oh, I say that all the time.
You choose your battles.
Yeah, my daughter's
mom,
looking at pictures
wife.
of herself. She's like,
Yeah.
Mom, why'd you let me wear that to school? I'm like, oh, I picked my battles with you. Trust me. That wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Wear what you want.
Absolutely. I love this one because this one is significant of big shift happening. It's the wheel shift. So this is and this is kind of past, present, future, cool. As far as the layout of things. So this is just showing there's a big shift coming within this world, which is interesting because look, it's the world. It's a picture of the world specifically. So it says a fresh new start or the end of delays, sudden or unexpected progress, a very positive change in your life. This last sentence always makes me laugh. It says travel or a new vehicle. It reminds me of like the Wheel of Fortune, you know, when they're just giving out like all the prizes and the different gifts that you can choose from. But anyway.
Maybe that's with Christmas coming up. It has something to do with Christmas for all of us.
Travel or a new vehicle. No, but this is just very significant of positive change coming in this world and that we can hold on to that. We don't need to get so down about like all these negative things happening. There is positive change coming, even with all the, once again, chaos. There's good things coming.
Well, even when
shift.
when you say that, like a new vehicle or different transportation, whatever, I took that as like, oh, I'm going to get where I want to be. It's just not going to look like what I thought. Maybe
a different route, you know, a detour. That's okay.
Maybe not a physical, but like a
new mode of, you know, getting to where you need to go. You know, it's especially like when you ask your guides for that help to intervene, like, hey, like, I don't know what I need help with, but I need help, or I do know what I need help with. I do know where I want to get in life. Please help me with this. You know, don't be surprised if they take you on this little detour, you know, as far as how to get there. It may not be the path that you thought that was best for you to get to that point, but they know best. You know, they're going to intervene and get you there the best way possible for you. So.
And life's so interesting that way. And like the older you get, the more you look back on life and like the hard things that you go through, it's like, at least for me personally, as hard as things have gotten at times, I wouldn't change any of them now because I look at it and I'm like, oh, but that's how I got to this place. That's how I'm here, is because I went through these different like places that were really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And you learn so much through those, you know, paths that are hard. Those, you know, you learn so much. You embrace the dark as you do with the light. You know, you learn so much through those struggles. That's how you grow. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, any last final message you want to leave? Or anything you want to share?
Go.
It's been so fun having you with
No,
us.
it's just been so fun. No, I love what I do. It's really brought a lot of change in my life. And again, I just encourage everyone to dive into your own personal spiritual journey, have fun with it. Don't be afraid of it. It's a beautiful thing.
Can I ask one more question before we go?
Yeah.
It's about Hape. Have you ever tried it? And if so, what are your thoughts and like, how does it, I don't know. What's your experience?
Hape, I have tried. Yes. It's a beautiful plant medicine. And I've only tried it a couple times actually. But each Hape, there's so many different kinds, right? Yeah. It's sacred tobacco in a sense. And it each one works on different chakras. So whether you're trying to just get more grounded, whether you're trying to open up a specific chakra, like even your third eye crown chakra to get more connected, just more aligned, it just really, really helps with spiritual connection in general. And so, like I said, I've only personally done it a couple of times. And it was, for me, it was pretty grounding and just centering for me. Yeah. And so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It
was really special.
It's very healing on different levels. So once again, it can just, be specific to the chakras, just getting more centered and aligned in general, very healing. Yeah.
I love that these ancient medicines and different things, they're not lost.
No, they're not lost.
They're newer to America and where we are, but they're not lost, and they're
absolutely
really
absolutely. Cool. And there's that can be a whole other
it can be a whole other podcast for sure.
But yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat with us. And
you're so welcome.
I can't wait for my next session. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah.
If they want to make their own, if they're from Utah and they want to come see you, how do they find you?
Yeah, you can either email me or find me through Instagram. I feel like that's the easiest way. Through email, it would be, I'll have to spell it all out, but Andriana Doulis at hotmail.com. So ANDRIANADOULIS at Hotmail. My Instagram is, what is it? It's Andriana Sophia _healing. So ANDRIANA, Sophia is SOFIA _healing.
We can include all of this in the description of the podcast for everyone.
Great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And people out of Utah, I do distant, you can do distant Reiki too and healing too. So
that's always
people outside of Utah as well. So
very cool.
It's not just limited here, but
very cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
For some reason, I want to say namaste.
Hey, say it. Namaste. Love it. Yes.
In our reindeer ears.
I love it. Love it.
And after the break, we'll be back to answer your burning questions. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. We just had on spiritual healer, intuitive, Reiki energy healer. She does so much. Andriana, she's amazing.
She is amazing.
And how cool is it that she got to do a collective reading for everyone?
I know. And I love it was past, present, and future, kind of like the, what's the Christmas show at the...
Yeah.
the Scrooge?
Yeah, what is that?
What is it?
A Christmas whatever. Anyways, what an amazing guest, an amazing experience to have her on. But as promised, we're going to get to some burning questions. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to DM us, reaches out, asks our questions. Lots of topic suggestions lately. So I'm excited to plan out the next few weeks because we have some good topics to go over. But a lot of holiday questions. What is your favorite holiday cocktail?
Holiday cocktail. Ooh.
Right now, mine's an old fashioned. I don't know if it's holiday.
It feels holiday.
But a mulled wine is always good too. Like where you do like the warm cider with wine in it.
Yeah.
think it's called mulled wine.
Yeah. I've seen on Pinterest how to make it.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it though. Let's make it.
It can be kind of sweet, but it's really holiday-ish.
Yeah. Let's make it.
Or just
Christmas.
good old-fashioned eggnog with some whiskey.
You know what? A friend of mine just made me some eggnog and had like 3 different liquors in it. It packed a good punch, that's for sure. I'm not much of an eggnog person, so it was really good. So.
Let's see. Ooh, this goes in line with our topic today. What is your daily spiritual routine? I have things that I do every day consistently, and then some days I do more. But every morning when I wake up, the first thing that I do is I just lay there and I try to connect. And what that means to me is it's my form of prayer, meditation. I reach out to higher power source and ask, I always say what I'm grateful for, something I'm grateful for, and then I set an intention for the day. So today specifically, I woke up really tired and really overwhelmed, didn't feel like I slept enough. So I said, thank you for, all of the abundance in my life. Thank you for my home, my businesses, my healthy children, my health, all of the things, right? And then I just set an intention that today I was going to find energy and I was going to be positive and powerful and get everything done.
And look at you.
Because I wanted it does work when you set the intention. I always make sure I set my day with an intention and try to meditate for just a few minutes, even in bed. And then the same thing at night, I always try to do an affirmation of gratitude. And I always try to be still and present before I go to bed. And sometimes that looks like doing some stretches at the foot of my bed or doing some yoga or just reading a book, or sometimes I'll pull oracle cards.
Oh, cool. It's like your own form of prayer in the morning and night.
Yeah, really? It really, for me, that's what gets my day set right. And helps me wind down after a hard day, or even in a fun day. It just helps me wind down and be present, because for me, connection is everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm a free spirit.
Yes, you definitely are. Yeah.
What about you?
For me, meditation for some reason is really hard for me to do. I'll do it sometimes, but I'm not good at it. So what I decided to do, I decided to do something that's a little more simple for me, and it's a little shorter, but I'll make my coffee in the morning. I'll sit down and just have quiet by myself. And I downloaded this app called My Human Design. And it's really cool. If you put in like your birthday, time, place you were born, it kind of shows you how energy flows through you, and it gives you tips every single day. And it just gives me and they're directed specifically towards you and the type of person that you are. And the type of person I am on there is a manifester.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like an easy, simple, get my mind right for the day, give me something positive to think about and to reflect on, and just start my day that way.
It's funny that you just said that, because I left out, because it just came to me as you were talking, is one of the most important things that I do is manifesting, is connecting to what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. It's amazing how powerful that is when you start doing it and practicing it, and how real it is.
Yeah. And when you actually start manifesting and you see the changes in your life, or you see the things that you've asked for help with, or the things that you want, and you see it happen, it is like their biggest reminder of how powerful you are.
Right. And that being said,
and how blessed we are.
Yes, absolutely. That being said, I want to hear from our listeners. Anybody who has had some type of a manifestation that, comes through that was like extra powerful or special to you, share it with us. We would love to hear that. We would love that. And we'll share it if you're okay with it on here. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Love it.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you again for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, review, share with your friends. We love you. Keep being present, keep being grounded, and be you, and stay wild.